Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam. I hope you're all doing really well. And on this channel I like to talk about all things film, Blu-ray, physical media collecting, and this is just a collection update and Blu-ray haul from the things that I bought during the month of sort of October into November. So whilst 2020 has been a write-off for the majority of us, there has been some silver linings if you're a film collector and a film lover, because some of the boutique Blu-ray labels releases this year have been absolutely incredible, and it has cost me quite a lot of money to get some of these, but I feel it's been worth the investment. And there's still some more releases that are to come out this year, such as David Cronenberg's Crash, which was my most anticipated release this year. But there's been a bunch of things that I've picked up that have just been absolutely incredible. And yeah, recently I've been sort of participating in a lot of sales to fill my spare time, even though a lot of my spare time is spent watching films anyway. I just wanted to sort of make myself feel better maybe, by picking up some more Blu-rays to add to my ever-increasing collection. So one of my favourite labels is a company called Indicator, who I'm sure you're all aware of, and they particularly have a speciality in creating some of the best box sets on the market. And in fact, I think they are the best. They lovingly restore these films and sort of put them together in a fantastic package. And they've had a sale recently, both on their Hammer line and then separately in sort of like a release wide, or is selected to like 100 different titles that were like in the offer for the sale. So I managed to pick up Hammer Volume 2. So Hammer is a studio's output that I have very limited knowledge of, and I just wanted to fix that basically. Part of being a collector is wanting to have the knowledge and the experience of watching these films, whether you enjoy them or not. It's just having a voice in the conversation that's informed. And other than that, I've heard that some of the films in the horror range are really good, particularly in this box set. There's a film called Cash on Demand that's got Peter Cushing in it that a lot of people say is one of his best performances, so I'll be really intrigued to catch that one. And yeah, I picked this up in their sale. This particular edition is now out of print, so I can imagine this going for a little bit of money on the secondary market in the not too distant future. But yeah, I managed to secure my copy, so there's that one. And then I couldn't help myself, running along the Hammer theme, and I managed to pick up another one. I picked up Volume 3, which is Faces of Fear, Blood and Terror, sorry, I should say. Faces of Fear, I think, is another one. And yeah, I literally got this in the sale, and I'm just going to delve into these open-minded and just to see what everyone's going on about, basically, because I have a lot of other box sets from Indicator, but the Hammer ones didn't appeal to me, and the reason, I don't know why, because I've never seen a Hammer film, so I have nothing to base it on why it didn't appeal to me. I'm really looking forward to delving into these. I don't think this one is out of print yet, but all of these box sets are limited to 6,000 copies. Yeah, so I'm really excited to delve into that one. I've got a problem with Indicator. Not with Indicator in general, but I have a problem in that I can't stop buying Indicator releases, and I also managed to pick up their most recent box set release of the Fu Manchu cycle from 1965 to 1969. This release from Indicator really interested me more because of the historical context and how probably badly it's dated, seeing as that Christopher Lee as Fu Manchu is sort of like in what you would call yellow face, which is like a no-go, but the times were different in the 60s, not to excuse anything that may or not be in these films. I've not seen them yet, but yeah, this is more for me why I got this as a history lesson and just like film studies sort of box set, so that I can learn more about the period and the concepts and the idea behind why these films were made. And yeah, I mean, I love Christopher Lee. He's been in some fantastic films, although I have not seen much of his Hammer films, even though that's most of his output. But yeah, this box set really intrigued me. There's 2 films in this collection which got me really interested, as they're directed by Jess Franco, who is like a Euro cult sort of icon, like very popular in sort of the circles of like cult cinema. And he made quite a lot of films in the 70s and 80s, some of them very exploitative. So I'll be interested to see what he does with these films. And then they're not going to be too exploitative, because this box set's like 15 certificate, so nothing here that's like a R-rated, 18 certificate or X-rated in here. But yeah, so I'm really excited to delve into Fu Manchu. Just to follow on from the theme of more box sets, this was probably my second most anticipated release of this year. As I mentioned earlier, Crash, which isn't out yet at the time of recording this, is my most anticipated release. But yeah, this was my second most anticipated, and it really delivered. And I'm talking about Second Sight's release of the Dawn of the Dead box set, which this particular edition's in 4K Ultra HD, and it is absolutely incredible. I absolutely love this box set. I've only ever seen the theatrical cut, and I watched the theatrical cut in here. And I've managed to delve through about 75% of the bonus features, which are all really, really good. I do think some of them have been ported over from Severin Films, whose company I'm going to talk about later on in this video. But yeah, this box set really blew me away. The picture quality on the film, for instance, is just absolutely spot on. And yeah, it's just the presentation in here is amazing. There's some really cool, you get like a really cool book in here. It's got like lots of writing and pictures and stuff from it, and it also has a novelization of the film by George A. Romero, so it has some extra stuff that wasn't in the film, which is pretty cool. I've not read that yet, but it's too recent for me to have seen the film to me to read this. So once I want to watch the film again, I think I'll read this and then watch one of the other cuts of the film, because I've heard the Dario Argento cut's really good. And then you also get in here, like, there's like loads of fold out things for the discs. You get like the CD soundtracks and musical cues, and then, as I said, you get 3 cuts of the film, which is theatrical cut, the Argento cut, because Dario Argento is one of my favorite filmmakers. He was like a producer on the film, and he wanted to make the film like look and feel differently to the American release in Italy, so he cut the film slightly different for the release over there. And then there's an extended cut which came out at the Cannes Film Festival, which I haven't seen, but I will watch that at some point. But yeah, this box set, absolutely worth the money, because it was a small fortune just for this. But I'm really happy with the presentation. Is superb. It arrived undamaged. I was a bit worried about a big box set like this not coming with like dings and stuff, but it was packaged perfectly by Second Sight, and I really look forward to any other releases that they come out with in the future. And just to finish off the box sets, this is a box set I wasn't going to get, and then this is where peer pressure and the downfall of social media, such as like Twitter and Instagram, of like other collectors that I follow posting their images of their box sets, and it giving me like incredible envy of wanting to own it myself. So I then went online and bought it for myself, and I'm talking about the Scream Factory's release of the Friday the 13th franchise. So this is one of the highlights of the year for me so far. Yeah, I do not regret buying this. Your appreciation of this box set will largely rely on your appreciation of the Friday the 13th franchise. Yeah, I love the franchise, and there's the first 4 films have been sort of restored from a 4K scan, which is incredible, and there's like a wealth of bonus features and commentaries, and it's every single film in the franchise, including like the Freddy vs. Jason film, which isn't great, but it's in there for completion's sake. So the box set comes with each film in its own case, and a nice little booklet here with some writings on each of the films, and I absolutely love this. And the artwork on the box set itself, oh, if I get it the right way around, the artwork on the box set itself, let's get a little bit closer here, is superb. Scream Factory really knocked out of the park. This is the only Scream Factory sort of release that I have, because importing their stuff, in fact I don't think they deliver to the UK, but then having to buy stuff on the secondary market is so expensive. But yeah, I managed to get this from a UK seller who'd somehow managed to import a bunch of them over, and yeah, it arrived undamaged, and I'm really happy to have it in my collection, as I'm like a really big horror fan and a big fan of this series. So another reason why my wallet has got a hole burning in it, but what are you going to do? Briefly, just going back to Indicator, with some of those box sets, I also managed to pick up a few of their individual sort of releases. Fortunately, 2 of these are just the standard edition, because the limited editions sold out a long time ago. One of these I've been trying to pick up on eBay, like as cheaply as I could, how much I wanted to spend on it, but it would always go for way too much money. I could pick up 3 or 4 limited editions sometimes for the amount of this would go for. But it's a Paul Schrader film called Hardcore, starring George C. Scott, and this is a film that's been on my radar for quite a long time. So I'm still happy just to have the standard edition, but the limited editions of Indicator are just that little bit nicer. But yeah, I think this film follows a man who's searching for his daughter, who's sort of got herself mixed up in like the pornography business in New York City in like the 70s. And yeah, it's written and directed by Paul Schrader, and even though some of Paul Schrader's work is very hit and miss, he has made some stellar films, and I've heard that this is one of them, and it's been put out by Indicator. This is spine number 14 by them, so it was one of the very early things, so I'm not surprised that the limited edition has been sold out for a long time, so I picked that one up. I also picked up a John Carpenter film that I've not seen yet. I've seen quite a lot of John Carpenter films, and I don't know why I haven't got around to this one. This was made after The Thing, which is my favourite Carpenter film and one of my favourite films ever, and it's Christine. So this was actually spine number 1. It's the first thing that Indicator ever put out, which is quite a good selling point, really. Maybe not representative of everything that the company would go on to release, but they do dip in and out of various different genres and types of films, and appeal to different audiences, which is a really good thing for a company to not be sort of one note. So if people are really interested in the company, they might expand the sort of things that they may watch. But yeah, I think this is about a car that comes to life and kills people, and John Carpenter is all I need to say about that one. So I got that in the sale as well. And then lastly, I managed to get a limited edition version of a Helen Mirren film called Hussy. So this is like a British film that came out in 1980, and she plays a call girl or prostitute. And other than that, I don't know much about it, although a friend of mine told me it's pretty good and quite an underrated film. And yeah, all these limited editions are normally like 17 or 18 pounds, something like that. But in the sale, all these limited editions were 10 quid. So I thought I'd take a punt on it, and I take a punt on quite a lot of these Indicator titles. So hopefully it'll pay off. Most of them have. So yeah, I'm not too worried. So there's Hussy. So I mentioned in the Dawn of the Dead box set that some of the special features had been ported over from or made by Severin Films, which is a company that I am digging into now and really enjoying some of the things I've been picking up. So they typically focus on sort of horror or exploitation or really obscure like cult films, or even things that aren't even considered cult, because for a cult to exist you have to have people that like it or want to be part of it or enjoy the thing that they're putting out. And some of these things, like, I'm not like hugely knowledgeable of like really underground cinema, but yeah, most of these things that I see, apart from some of their bigger releases, I've never heard of or know anyone who's heard of them or have seen them. But following other YouTubers and looking up people's opinions and stuff about them, I managed to pick up a giallo film, which I had heard of before. This is not an obscure film really at all, but it's their release of it, which is Sergio Martino's The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward. Now this is probably one of the top 5 giallo films I've ever seen. I only watched this a few weeks ago, but it really, like, it was incredible. I really love the music in it, which is, I keep saying that about giallo films, but it's a really big selling point for me, is how good the music complements, or sometimes doesn't complement, but works with the storyline and the acting and everything that's going on. It stars the gorgeous Edwidge Fenech, who is sort of like the queen of the giallo films in Italy in sort of like the early to mid 70s. And it's just a really great murder mystery film from Sergio Martino. And Severin, yeah, really knocks it out of the park with this one. There's some really great special features on here. One particularly is the audio commentary by Kat Ellinger, who is quickly becoming my favourite sort of genre film commentator. Her insights and sort of dialogue as the film's playing is just so interesting, and yeah, it's definitely going to be a special feature on films that I will look into in the future, because she's really cool. And then secondly, from Severin, I also picked up a documentary which also comes with a bonus film of the, let me just get this right, the film's called Blood and Flesh, The Real Life and Ghastly Death of Al Adamson. So Al Adamson was a sort of low budget exploitation filmmaker in like the 60s and 70s. He made lots of films that nobody's ever heard of, even though they do have a cult following now. But he was also known for taking footage from his films and then filming additional scenes and re-splicing it together and then re-releasing his film as a completely different entity. And he's done that a few times on some of his films, like 2 or 3 times. So he like keeps recycling things and then making money off of it. So a lot of his films were sort of shown at grindhouses in America and like drive-ins and stuff like that. So that sort of tells you the tone and the production value of the films. But yeah, this documentary sort of covers his life really and his filmmaking, which is fascinating and makes me want to watch some of his films, but also covers the real life case of his murder, which is really weird and quite disturbing. So it's part sort of documentary chronicling his career for the first half of the film, and then the second half of the film is sort of like a true crime documentary about his murder and what happened to him and the case and stuff. And yeah, this particular edition also includes one of his films called The Female Bunch, which I've not seen, but I do want to watch that. And yeah, I do believe Severin have a sale coming up in October. We've gone past October. A sale for Black Friday. And yeah, I'm definitely going to try and pick up some more titles from them, because I'm really getting into sort of like underground, lesser seen cinema and just seeing what people can do on shoestring budgets. And yeah, so that was Blood and Flesh. Next up, yeah, I did buy a lot of things in October, November, haven't I? This was a guilty pleasure pickup because I, 1, loved the video game when I was a kid, and 2, I loved this film when I was a kid, and I haven't seen it probably for about 15 years because I can't imagine it's aged very well. But 88 Films have re-released the Jean-Claude Van Damme masterpiece. It's not a masterpiece. Street Fighter, which also stars Raul Julia, who is probably the saving grace of this film. Even though I haven't seen this film for such a long time, I've seen clips of his performance on YouTube and stuff, and he is quite amazing in this. If you don't know who Raul Julia is, he played Gomez in The Addams Family, and he's also in a bunch of other really good films. But yeah, I won't say too much more about this. It's like a really bad video game adaptation into a film that just is terrible, but I have really good memories linked to it, so I'm looking forward to revisiting it for that reason, but I'm not expecting too much from this. But yeah, as you'll probably tell, this slip on this is extremely shiny, and yeah, they only released 3,000 copies of this. I don't know if you can see, it's probably not picking up very well on camera, but the next film is a release from Third Window Films. They are quite an underrated label, to be honest. They specialize in Japanese cinema with a touch of like Korean cinema, and they've put out pretty much most of Shinya Tsukamoto's films, which is, he is becoming one of my very favorite filmmakers. At least, like, I feel like I'm really delving into his films and like proper, not studying them, but looking really into them, and I just want to see everything he's made. And it's not very often that a filmmaker, that I come across a filmmaker like that nowadays, because I've seen so many films that makes me want to delve into every single thing that they've done. And Third Window Films recently, this is the first time this has been released in the UK, and maybe in Europe on Blu-ray, I'm not too sure, but definitely in the UK. And it's his film Gemini with a really cool slipcover. So I think this is limited to like a first 1,000 orders from Third Window. You got this slipcover on it. So for those of you who don't know who Shinya Tsukamoto is, he's a very experimental filmmaker from Japan that made a midnight like cult movie called Tetsuo the Iron Man, which is like a very extreme body horror film, which I think has a lot of, which I've described as a meeting between David Cronenberg's Videodrome and David Lynch's Eraserhead. So if you like those two films, then check out Tetsuo. And if you don't like those two films, then still check out Tetsuo, but you're probably not going to like it. It's a very unique piece of cinema. And yeah, I've just been watching everything that I can get my hands on by this guy. There's an Arrow box set of his films that was only released in the US, but I already have most of those films through Third Window, and yeah, now I have this one, and this will be one that I will watch pretty soon because I can't get enough of this guy's stuff. So next up is my recent haul from Eureka, Masters of Cinema line. I pretty much buy everything, every announcement that they put out that's like a new title. So yeah, they're now up to 242, so we're only 8 releases away from like milestone 250 spine number. So I picked up the Paul Dini horror expressionistic film Waxworks. So I'm really excited to delve into this one because I was a big fan of Eureka's recent Paul Lenny release of The Man Who Laughs. The character from that film was a big inspiration for the Joker from Batman, and I'm just all about silent and expressionistic films from the 20s. I can't get enough of them, and I want my boutique Blu-ray labels to release more of these films that I've never seen. So next up is the double feature, Ishiro Honda's double feature, so like science fiction sort of B type movie from like the 50s and 60s. It was of the H-Man and Battle in Outer Space. So I've blind bought this one, but I am really excited to check this out because I have zero knowledge or experience watching Japanese science fiction films from that era. I've never seen anything. So it's really good that Eureka have like sort of opened my eyes to this. So we'll see what it's like. But Ishiro Honda did the original Godzilla, which is incredible. So, but I'm not expecting that because these films are going to be slightly different to that. But I think I know what to expect from tone and production value. So yeah, really excited to dig into this one. And then lastly, my God, I've been blubbering on for ages about this one, about this haul here. So this was a release that I was really anticipating getting once they Eureka Masters of Cinema announced it. So other than Godzilla, I haven't really seen many of those types of films. I think they're called Kaiju or Kaiju Eiga or something like that. As I said, I'm not an expert on that type of cinema, but it's something that intrigues me and I want to get more knowledge and experience these things. But as I said, I've seen Godzilla, which is a great film. And when they announced Mothra, I love the artwork on this. It's so good. The striking yellow and pink is just gorgeous. I buy everything from Eureka and I'm really excited to delve into this one. So if you stuck around through all of that, then thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed me showing off the things I've been buying that has made me broke. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. Leave a comment below, let me know if you picked up any of these things or if you've watched them already, what you thought about them. And yeah, until next time everyone, take care.